Tonight on Hip on the Spot News. A new patch, a new update on the Spot News. We take a dive in the patch notes and check what is new. We got some quality of life improvements. And the Strike Eagle rolls the fixes. This and more on How I Play. Hello virtual pilots, I'm Andre Celesti, and tonight we are going to talk about the latest updates in DCS World. So we got another open beta update for our favorite sim platform, and with it came a long list of fixes and improvements as well as new quality of life changes for the base sim. Focusing on the multiplayer experience, ED introduced a filter option for slot types when entering a server that will come in handy for all multiplayer sessions. It makes life easy and offers a quick method to choose your slot based on the modules you own and so on. The filters can be added one by one to narrow the list of available slots you may be interested in. They include airfields or starting points for the slot, aircraft type, and specific seat role in the cockpit. Another filter for which airfield's coalition is currently the same as the slot in case of the airfield being captured by another coalition. Plus hot start, cold start, and air start slots filters. A free search field that allows search for any specific strings. You can search for usernames to see which slot is occupied by your friends. As a second step, ED plans to improve the interface after joining the server with additional interaction right on the map. Another new feature is for the mission editor. We can now copy the settings and properties between aircraft in a group or for the same aircrafts on the map. Nice! Another feature is that AI ground units will now attack enemy trains. Passengers, beware! Moving on, multiple aircrafts got their gear suspension updated, and they added a small random trajectory spread of cruise and anti-ship missiles so that they do not fly exactly one after another and do not collide. Other fixes include the default F4 camera position, inaccurate terrain shadows appearing in some cases.
Beware the shadow that lurks in weird and inaccurate ways.
For the Hornet and Viper, they have improved the target hold mechanism in STT. For the Hornet in particular, they have fixed the autobomb mode that sometimes ignores the countdown. As for the Viper, they added the brand new Thrustmaster Viper throttle quadrant system default profile. Man, I want one. And they fixed the manual auto waypoint sequencing control. We noticed a decent list of fixes for the Apache, starting with an altitude hold logic correction, plus George entering VRS a bit too often, or refusing to fire after his first engagement. Also, for some reason, losing hate, so that's that. They added the mixed AGM 114 loadout and multi-crew hold mode synchronization is now fixed. For the Hind, they added new function for the ASO 2V panel control interface with Petrovich. Long left will disable his auto-dropping flare chaff if he sees missile threats. Or birds, UFOs, you name it. He likes to spam the button.
Yes, I like.
Multiple modules received wheel chocks present from the ground crew. Nice. The A10C to Tank Killer got an AN/ALQ 184 long pod and the copy feature for the UFC and CDU. For the Gazelle by Polychop Simulations, we got improvements to the engine performance and torque limitations. The developers let us know that this is a continuous iterative process and there may be further changes in the future. They have also improved the SAS behavior, visual rotor speed, the auto hover and auto rotation behavior, and the starter switch can now correctly be placed in off ret position once fuel is flowing. They replaced the Hot Tree missiles with ED weapon and added a basic sling load, with the helper UI to be added later in the future. The periscope sight now has a laser rangefinder, very useful. Also, the pilot sight will be hidden when spawning without any weapons equipped. And the Mistral missiles are now able to lock on the ground targets when heat contrast is high enough. Plus, they included more liveries from the community. Nice! For the Mirage F1 by HIPGames, they improved the optical sight and included a few fixes for it. They fixed the IDN mode switch initial position. The animation position didn't match the internal value, so the indicator moves now correctly after selecting the first mode switch position. They updated the training missions and added new implementations for mirror position and on and off toggle function. For the Viggen and Tomcat, they now have quick start missions for the Sinai map. The Viggen received a few fixes and an RB05 overhaul. The Tomcat got improvements to its AIM-54 loft and notch behavior, and a reduced carrier catapult shot speed target by 15 knots to be more realistic. So as mentioned before in our previous video, Syria and the South Atlantic map got updated with new features. For Syria by Ugra Media, they added lightning with a new real-time technology, right-hand side traffic and Cyprus for immersion reasons. Alright. The mission generator has been updated and they include helicopters landing site on the map plus new parking spaces for big planes. Interesting. Many improvements to objects and airfields, hangars, and optimized urban development models. For those who might be interested, the Aleppo power plant and Lafarge factory have a destruction model implemented. So you know what to do. For the South Atlantic map, well, the biggest news is the switching technology used across all city blocks on the map. A complete redesign of city block using all new models which are in keeping of the region. Plus a major tree distribution adjustment to get rid of tree patterns across the whole map, and a rework of roads across all cities with new blocks, textures, models, and layout. Nice! Oh, and apart from other changes, Razbam added a hidden airfield in the north for small aircrafts. Go ahead and find it. And now, it's time for the Strike Eagle. We kept it until now, as you can imagine, there is a long list of fixes that were implemented. That is always great news, even though many changes repeat themselves in the list, there are still a lot. So let's take a brief look at what we got. First and most important, the INS alignment got a fix for being too sensitive to movement. Even with chocks on, it was a pain in the ass, sorry my expression, but that's the truth. I remember changing slots as the INS alignment was failing even though we didn't move an inch. Isn't that right, Rupesh? The TACAN and ILS information are now synchronized between cockpits, plus other multi-crew desync issues are now fixed. We can now update radio presets in cockpit and the radio 1 and 2 active frequency should sync now. The Eagle also received a few livery corrections and texture issues fixed on the VSO helmet. They updated the collision model plus external LOD and internal textures. The anti-air gun sight still work in progress, the kneeboard page, gear configuration values and pilot visor. They improved the stored drag count and the flight model based on performance chart and automatic testing. Radar CPU performance has been improved as well. Good to know. Now let's see what they added with dispatch apart from the fixes and improvements. We got volume controls for systems like TACAN, ILS and so on. Ground crew can now change GBU laser codes. More pilot visors and kneeboard indication of the alignment method to use. NVG brightness adjust controls and air-to-ground radar channel band controls. As always, I link the entire patch notes in the video description. The update also introduced a new campaign by Sorel Leroux, The Last Show for the Huey. Make sure you check it out. And that's it for today. Once again, thank you for your patience this week. Keep in mind that I'm still in recovery mode and have a few planned visits to the hospital for investigations. But in a few weeks, I should be all in the clear. And most important, no more strong medicine requirements. But putting aside that, I am very grateful for your support, kind words, and I see that with many of you, I share the same story and the same hurdles with the kidney stones. If you want to talk further, you will find me on our Discord, where more and more I try to catch up with our dear community. Thank you all for watching. Remember to check our sponsor VR Rock for your VR blue light protection and prescription lenses. Many thanks to our patrons that support our channel: Rhinox, Richard Burnside, Steven Adashchik, Pegasus24, Runan, Crash, Santiago Ordonez, Hobo, Dieter Nussbaumer, Tony Prince, Mr. D, Ian Massak and Molcham. Thank you guys for your continued support, it means a lot to me. And if you want to support our channel, feel free to use the thanks button here on YouTube, check our sponsor and become a Patreon. Remember to leave us a like if you find our video informative and subscribe to keep in touch with all the latest news on your favorite simulators and games. I am Andre Celesti, reminding you to fly safe, and I'll see you next time.